fucking trolls. Am I right? So the thing about trolls is if you don't deal with them the right way, you'll actually scare off your regular viewers. So today we're going to talk about how to properly deal with trolls and how to get back into that perfect mindset that you were in just before that opened his mouth. Before we get too deep in this video today, let me know if you've had any experiences with any noteworthy trolls down in the comments below. It's actually really good for people to read different streamers' troll experiences because it's really easy to feel isolated when you're a streamer and feel like you have the worst trolls ever, or like these terrible things that happen to you are the worst thing ever. So it's good to get those experiences out into the world so that people realize that this stuff happens to everybody. There is no channel on Twitch that doesn't have trolls or hasn't had some kind of dumb incident with trolls in the past. So leave it in the comments. So let me clarify. I don't mean like fun, happy-go-lucky trolls. Everybody loves those. Those are great. They add color to a channel. They let you accept somebody's like quirkiness, and it generally just, it's nice to have them around. They make things interesting. No, we're talking about the malicious, dangerous kind of trolls that are really there to deliberately cause you mental anguish and really try to f up your day as a streamer. So a really good place to start with trolls is the 3 unifying truths in the theory of trolls. The first truth, the unifying theory of trolls, is trolls are lonely. A troll, especially one that's trying to actually inflict some kind of damage to a stream, that is somebody that's seeking negative attention. I think we could all agree that positive attention trumps negative attention every time. It's nice to have people care about you, give you a hug, ask you how you're doing, have fun, laugh. Those are all positive kinds of attention. But the negative kind of attention is something that you would only seek if you couldn't get positive attention. And the reason that they want negative attention so bad is that negative attention is, to them, still better than no attention at all. And to add emphasis to this, one of the worst punishments that we could give somebody in like a federal penitentiary is solitary confinement. So think about that for a few seconds. You're surrounded by criminals, possibly murderers, violent offenders, and the worst thing that they could do to somebody in that prisoner population is put them by themselves. So to avoid that feeling of isolation and loneliness, a malicious troll will seek negative attention instead of positive attention. So our first truth is trolls are probably lonely people. So for our second truth, we're going to focus on time. Now we can agree that trolling does take some time, especially the more malicious or persistent the troll. If you have an excess of time, well, basically the only people that can troll are people who have an excess of time. And as an adult, we all have different responsibilities. We all have work responsibilities, school, jobs, home ownership, car ownership, chores, side hustles, streams of our own. There's no shortage of places to spend our time. There's hardly any time in the day where we would even consider being a troll. And some of these competing responsibilities for your time would actually even borderline on the immoral if you were spending the time trolling instead. And I'm talking like being a parent, taking care of bills, taking care of other, relationship responsibilities. So the second truth about trolls is this. A troll needs to have a lack of significant obligations in their life, or they need to be shirking those significant obligations in their life. If a troll is on the older side, that's probably going to reflect some serious deficiencies with their interpersonal relationships with other people, certainly their romantic ones. And if they're on the younger side, it just suggests that they have a whole boatload of free time and nothing to do with it, and they're probably just bored. It goes without saying here that most trolls are probably doing what they're doing because they have a lot of free time and they're bored, so they're probably on the younger side rather than the older side. Now that doesn't bar adults from trolling at all, but this should give you a good cross-section of who's coming to your chat to troll. So the third truth about trolling is trolls actively look for other trolls because they feel like those people understand them. Birds of a feather flock together, as they say. And a troll, especially one who's committing malicious trolling, if he sees somebody else committing malicious trolling, he'll actually probably see a kindred spirit. Not only that, but when they find somebody who likes doing the same things with their time as they do, that reinforces the negative behavior that they're inflicting on other people. So the third truth is, if left by themselves, trolls will multiply like gremlins, and they will attract more of the same behavior. And when a troll finds a kindred spirit that's willing to overlook their bad behavior, they actually feel less alone in the world, which was the problem with truth number 2. So the first step in combating these trolls, now that we've established the 3 truths, is you have to identify the harmful ones from the playful ones. And there's 2 really easy ways to do that. But for a new streamer, that might actually seem a little bit difficult. And believe me, I understand what it's like to be a new streamer. I understand what it's like to have somebody come to your chat and finally break that silence. Believe me, I get it. The problem is, the people that break the silence need to be people that you want to have around, and they should hopefully be people that other chatters want around too. So here's the thing. You don't want a troll that's ever going to scare away new chatters or new viewers. And the longer you tolerate a troll that will do those things, the more damaging it's going to be to your channel. Let's just hop into it and we'll identify the ones you need to ban right off the bat. It goes without saying that if you run into any racists, misogynists, anybody who's intentionally combative or hurtful towards other people in chat, these people gotta go. You gotta weed them out. You can't weed them out fast enough, basically. Gone. Done. And Twitch has actually done a really great thing. They recently updated how bans work. So banning will unsub somebody from your channel. It will unfollow them from your channel. It will IP ban them so that if they try to ban evade using the same computer with a different account, they actually won't be able to chat. They'll think they can because it shadow bans them, but they won't know that nobody else can see their chat. Very good on you, Twitch. So that takes care of all the obvious trolls. Those are the ones you just need to get rid of off the bat. Now we're going to move on to the non-obvious trolls. And the non-obvious trolls are the hardest ones to know if you should ban or not. But there's a really simple guideline here. And it's probably the most basic advice that I'm ever going to give you. But the basic advice is also the most ingenious advice here. Anybody who puts you off up here mentally and that you just don't like having around, that makes you less entertaining as a broadcaster, that's somebody that you're going to want to get rid of. If anybody is interfering with your ability to connect to other people or interfering with your ability to be entertaining, they're a barrier to your progress and they need to be removed. I'm going to reiterate here that emotions are contagious and people can read emotions very, very fast. Nonverbal communication through body language, tone of voice was a lot more important as cavemen when we were first evolving, right? We learned to understand whether people looked happy, whether people looked energetic, whether people looked threatening, whether people looked pissed off. We understood how to interpret emotions non-verbally far before we learned how to interpret emotions through speech. If somebody in the back of your mind is just really you don't want them there, it's going to show. And that is going to affect your ability to connect with new people. It might scare some people off. And the last thing here about bans is don't be afraid of losing a single viewer as a ban. Worry more about how you reacted to that troll, because everybody in chat is watching you handle this situation and they're going to carry that memory with them forever. Okay, so you banned the guy and now chat's like, oh, what happened? This dude got banned. What do we do? It's important after you ban somebody to keep chat moving. And it's a really good idea. Like if you have a stream deck or you have a chat command that posts like emotes or fast moving chat, use that right after a ban to minimize the amount of questions that you get for why somebody was banned, because you really don't want to dwell on the action. The answer is always going to be the same, that this person was banned for the thing that they did just before the ban. And it's funny because I've been doing this for 4 years and it's always the same answer. It's like, why was I banned? Probably for that thing that you did just before you got banned. So how do you ban somebody? How do you handle it with grace? And what's the fastest way to get back into that good streamer entertainment mindset that you were in before this person wandered into your chat? Step 1 is a old rule from stand-up comedy, and that's don't cross the hurt line. Don't let the troll see that you're hurt or that you're worried that they're disrupting by being a huge racist or something horrible, right? Don't show them then you're upset. By the same token, when you ban them, do it as dispassionately as you can. Get rid of them, do it quietly, handle it professionally. You don't want to try and hurt their feelings back because you lower yourself down to their level, and your chat will see you do that. Now, don't get me wrong, every chat might love a roast now and then, but it's actually pretty hard to artfully roast a person without becoming a jerk, for lack of better terms. Step 2, and actually helps with step 1, is if you're empathetic towards the troll. So we discussed those 3 truths earlier about the troll being lonely, the troll mismanaging their time, and the troll trying to look for other people to justify their bad behavior. And these are all pretty kind of sad behaviors. And what you want to do is try and think from that troll's perspective. And the best way I've found of doing this is realizing the 3 truths and then imagining that if this were the troll's last day alive, what would you say about them? If you were presiding over their eulogy, what would you write? Holding on to anger is like holding a burning coal with the intention of throwing it at somebody else. In the end, you're the one that gets burned. And step 3 of this whole process is my favorite. You can remember it like this. Oxytocin's a hell of a drug. So oxytocin is a neuroreceptor in your brain. It's called the trust hormone or the trust molecule. And what happens when you get a hug for about 20 seconds or you make skin-to-skin contact with another person is your brain releases oxytocin. Gives you warm feelings, feelings of love, feelings of social bonding. And it's a really good way to put yourself in the right mindset for being on stream because people are coming to watch you and hang out. Like, people only do that if they really like somebody. People's free time is rare, so when they spend it in your corner of Twitch, it's a really good idea to be in a state of love and caring in your head. And one of the best ways to do that is imagine a hug for 20 seconds. Scientists have proven that if you imagine a hug for 20 seconds, your brain will still release the same oxytocin and will actually put you in a better mood. So not every troll is quite so easy to deal with, and we're going to go through some behaviors that should serve as big red flags. These red flags are indicators that this troll is probably more serious and that you might have to take multiple steps or be ready to report them to Twitch going forward at this link down here, this link up there. They might take extra action if they're going to go through these actions, but let's just talk about them now. Evasion or ban evasion. Now, the changes that Twitch actually just instituted to the banning system, if somebody does do ban evasion, it's actually pretty serious because it means they're contacting you from a different IP on a different account. This is a persistent troll, and if they had multiple accounts ready, they've probably been banned in other channels. The second one is whispering your viewers and your Discord members. So when people get banned for whatever behavior, a lot of times they get irate that they were chastised. Like, you are not allowed to police your own chat. And they'll join your Discord and they'll repeat the same behavior that they repeated on stream. That's a big warning flag. And what's a even bigger warning flag is if they start whispering members of your Discord or trying to whisper your mods to ask why you were banned. Again, probably because of the thing you did right before you were banned. Big surprise there, right? But that's a indicator that the troll's probably more persistent than you want them to be. Next one is impersonation. Twitch has had like a very strange and secretive rise in the number of impersonation accounts. And what that means is somebody will copy your username and then probably add like an underscore or numbers onto it afterwards and start trying to pretend they are you to people from your chat. That is a big indicator. That is something that you want to email Twitch support about. Link down below. Another troll type that might not be quite so overt, but is definitely worth noting is somebody who's intentionally skirting the edges of TOS. Somebody who's intentionally just being like, I have this picture that I posted for you in Discord, and it's a pretty gory picture. And they're like, oh, I didn't know it was against TOS. Another example of edginess is if a Twitch viewer says that they're 12 and a half years old, that's actually against TOS. The TOS specifies that anybody under the age of 13 isn't allowed to use Twitch unsupervised. So this can get you in trouble if you're caught not enforcing the terms of service. So the rules from before, if this person's really putting you off and you think something is fishy, that applies. If you think something's fishy, get rid of them. But when somebody knows the rules of the TOS, that specifically, they're trying to get you in trouble, and it's really hard to tell when they're eventually going to cross that line. So it's somebody who demands your attention for as long as they're interacting in chat, just to make sure that they don't cross a line that they're not supposed to. So that's not somebody that you want to, that's not a risk that you want to tolerate. You ever get those chatters that are like, hey, streamer, I would totally sub if I hadn't spent my last 25 cents on hookers and blow. Those guys are begging. Begging behavior I classify pretty generally. It's usually people that talk about don't having a sub and how they would sub. What they're really doing is signaling that they don't have a sub and they want somebody to buy them a sub. Now, so asking for subs actually does help a channel because the streamer still gets revenue. But at the same time, it's almost a universally hated thing to see. Nobody likes beggars. You know, I've actually been to channels where beggars have been such a problem that the streamer actually has an automated message to handle begging. And it's just something that trolls like to do to bait out a specific behavior. And sometimes, well, actually a lot of the time they do it without any intention of ever coming back to the channel. So it's really kind of frowned upon, and it's something your viewers are going to notice whether you tolerate it or not. My advice is to time it out the first time, and if the behavior continues, just get rid of them. Okay, here's the last one, and this one's the scariest one to deal with for new streamers because, well, let's just talk about it. Mass spammers. So when you get a ton of people in your chat, like 300 or 400 people, and they're all spamming like horrible messages, either hateful messages or you feel like you're getting botted at the time, don't worry about that. Twitch isn't going to slap you on the wrist. This happens all the time. All you need to do is take a few of the names and report them to Twitch. But also, if you have a Stream Deck, there's a button that you could set up on the Stream Deck that lets you turn on sub-only chat, which will get rid of any bot chat. It can turn on follower-only chat. It could also turn on emote-only chat. And there's the button to run advertisements. So if you have all those buttons on your Stream Deck, you're already prepared for trolls, mass spamming trolls. But also, they usually don't stick around for that long. If they do, you can shut down your stream for about 2 minutes and then turn your stream back on, and then the bots should have migrated to another channel. Easy peasy. You don't need to worry that Twitch is going to ban you for the behavior. Just make sure you deal with it and report it to Twitch, and they'll take care of everything else. But as a new streamer, you don't need to worry about it. So that's all I got. If you really like this video or it was helpful, or I helped you figure out how to get back into a good mindset after a troll came through your channel, please like and subscribe. Check out my other videos. We set up one a couple weeks ago that shows you how to make any microphone sound amazing using OBS. It's only like 8 minutes long. It's a lot shorter than this video, but thank you guys for watching up till this point. I will see you in a few days. Oh, and as always, I stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I might be playing Doom Eternal, but feel free to ask streaming questions. I guess you could scream at me too.